just going to give it another minute just to let anyone else who's coming in come in. I tried to put some different settings on my Zoom in order to stop the video from buffering, but that hasn't gone to plan. So can anyone let me know if anything looks a little bit strange? I'm not the most tech savvy of people, so let me know if you can't see any like slideshows or it is just buffering a little bit too much for you. Just give it another 15 seconds. We'll let people come in. How many have we got so far? Nice. It's getting up there.
18 participants.
Just leave it a little bit longer. Does anyone have any questions from last week? Anything that's been playing on their mind in terms of the content I went over? If not, we can just get cracking. Perfect. So, because I've seen Ben and he's on my screen at the moment, let me know if you can see my presentation. If you just unmute yourself and let me know.
It's a black screen at the moment. Yeah, no, I can see that.
You can see it now.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Awesome. So we'll get started. Today, this is the content that I'm going to go over. This should be brand new material to everyone. So there's going to be a lot of Q&A time factored in, and also there'll be some pauses for questions. And if anyone can just unmute themselves and ask me a question if you want to. I don't mind about being interrupted and everything. I've only got one computer screen, so I can only see what is on my screen at the moment. We're going to be focusing on the what, why, and how of muscular conditioning, and then why we should be putting in the time now, especially with the given situation that we're in, so we can reap the rewards down the line. So here we go. What is muscular conditioning? Well, so far you've heard me talking about aerobic and anaerobic conditioning. And basically, it's a completely different kettle of fish, but the principle stays the same. We're training to be able to do more work, okay? So that principle of being able to do more aerobic work, more anaerobic work, or more muscular work, and I'm going to go into what that means in a minute. In its simplest form, muscular conditioning is about improving the endurance of specific muscles, okay? So when we're actually going into it, it's about increasing the amount of times a particular muscle is able to contract in a certain way. And in terms of the underlying mechanisms and sciencey stuff, one, we're increasing the tissue tolerance of specific muscles and making the muscles better at contracting once they start getting tired. Two, giving the muscle tissue a nice stimulus for growth, so providing the muscle with an activity that it will need to adapt to. And three, increasing the muscle and connective tissue's ability to cope with load. Okay, so just summing all of that up, muscular conditioning is all about increasing the amount of times that your muscle is able to contract when it's in a fatigued state. It's also a really good, nice, effective way of providing the muscle with a stimulus that it's never seen before. We'll go into that in a bit. That's at the end of the slideshow. And then the other thing, it's just about increasing the muscle and connective tissue's ability to cope with load. Okay, so as I'll go into a little bit later on, this should form the basis of most people's plans, especially if this is your first sort of exposure to strength and conditioning, because this stuff is like essential for you to be able to move on to some sort of like general strength work, or even just moving on to an S&C program type thing. So why is muscular conditioning important? I'm going to go into the performance benefits first, and then I'm going to take you through my my rather cryptic diagram in a minute. So the first thing is, if your muscles are more resistant to fatigue, you will be able to contract them more frequently for a longer amount of time when they get tired. So you're in a fatigue state, you've been working at quite a high intensity, and we want to be able to give you the best ability possible to keep your muscles contracting, okay? And that's one of the reasons why we're doing muscular capacity work. Again, if your muscles are more resistant to fatigue, you can contract them more frequently. And why is this important? Well, if you've been working at a very high intensity for a whole match, let's say this is the semi-final or something, it's intense. You're against someone of equal ability in terms of fencing, and you're both really pushing each other. So lots of high intensity bursts of exercise, and they're lasting a decent amount of time. So you've been working above your anaerobic threshold intensity. That bit's not important. Let's just say you're working at a really high intensity. So you have a lot of byproducts of anaerobic energy system utilization, and that's protons or H+ ions. I've spoken about lactic acid before. Most people think that lactic acid is a negative thing. Actually, I'm not going to go into it today, but lactic acid is a very positive thing when it comes to anaerobic work, and it actually lets you continue exercising for a little bit longer. It's all to do with substrate utilization. I'm not going to go into it today, but let's just say if you've got lactic acid, you've got these protons and you've got these H+ ions, and what they're doing is they're decreasing the pH or increasing the acidity of a localized area, okay? So that's the sort of burning feeling that you can feel when you've worked really hard for a decent amount of time. And again, I'm not going to go into the odds and sods of what that means, but if we can get certain adaptations at a biochemical level within the tissue itself, we can prolong your time to fatigue. And that's increasing the muscle's capacity or the muscle's exercise capacity, meaning you can perform more contractions for a longer period of time and potentially last longer before you hit that fatigue point during a match, okay? So when your muscles can't contract anymore. Again, in its simplest term, increasing your muscles' endurance. And so if we increase your ability of the muscles and connective tissues to cope with load, we can reduce the risk of a load-related injury. I'm going to give a good example of that. Last year, I worked with a professional netball team called Surrey Storm, and we actually didn't let them touch any weights until they hit certain targets in muscle capacity testing. And the whole reasoning behind that was they've just come off a break in the season. So they just finished their Super League season. They were coming back into pre-season, and they're a little bit deconditioned, as you would be for those sports, because you've taken a little bit of time off, which you're meant to. And we just basically didn't want any load-related injuries. Another good example is an athlete that I'm working with. So he's in this chat at the moment, Ben. I'm sure he won't mind me using him as an example. But with Ben, again, it's been a case of I've given him set targets to hit with his muscle capacity testing, and before letting him go on to a sort of more generalized strength and conditioning program where we're lifting weights. And then going to the diagram that's on the board, it's about providing that stimulus for growth. So that pizza looking image on there is actually a muscle fiber, okay? So these little dots, they're not pepperoni pieces, they're nuclei. So muscle fibers are multi-nucleated. And what happens is if we have a period of time, God forbid, when gyms and fencing clubs are closed for a long period of time, like now, what happens is you'll get something called muscle atrophy if you're not working them. So, oh no, the gyms and fencing clubs are closed for 4 weeks. I can't train. You're sitting on the sofa. You're not really training. Well, you guys aren't. You're with me. But for the guys who aren't, what's going to happen is they'll start to lose the amount of nuclei they have in their muscle fibers. And what that means is those nuclei, they can only control a set amount of muscle. So you've lost them. There's a little bit more muscle in there than there are nuclei that are able to control it. And then what happens is that decreases in size. So your muscle fibers get smaller, and then hence you lose muscle tissue. So as you probably realized, like, this is very, very relevant now, and we want to avoid this process, because if you do get muscle atrophy and you're not giving your muscles the correct stimulus or stimuli, you're going to come back after 4 weeks of rest, not really doing too much, and you're going to get on the fencing piste. First of all, from a performance-wise, you're not going to be able to produce as much power, as much strength, as much speed, those type of things when you're moving. And then the second thing is you're more likely to get injured just because you're a little bit deconditioned. So we're trying to give certain muscles enough stimuli to basically maintain or even build muscle mass and prevent muscle atrophy. That's basically when your muscle breaks down. So that, again, we're ready to experience those loads that we get when fencing. So in terms of how we're going to do it, muscular conditioning is basically characterized by very high volume, so lots and lots of reps and very little load. Okay, so that's no equipment is needed, which is pretty handy at the moment. The diagram on the screen is a paper investigating the amount of stimulation or muscle building potential that a particular load will give you. Okay, so myofibrillar protein synthesis, forget that. That basically means muscle building. Okay, so muscle building potential, or the amount of stimuli, and the strength of the stimulus that a certain load can give you. And then down there, you've got intensity as a percent of 1 RM, so 1 repetition maximum. So that's the maximum amount of loads that you can lift in a certain movement. So if it was back squat and your 1 repetition maximum is 200, 50% 1 RM or 50% is going to be 100 kilos. So as you can see there, at all intensities, when they went to failure, regardless of the load, you can see that we went above that stimulatory threshold. So what I'm taking from this is that if we can train key areas with using our own body weight and going to failure, we can actually stimulate our muscle fibers enough so that we can prevent that muscle loss as a result of not training, and then we can get the performance benefits and the injury mitigation of muscular conditioning. Does anyone have any questions on anything I've covered so far? I am going to go through a few of these exercises that I quite like and I'd expect people to do. That will be in the practical bit. Does anyone have any questions? Just unmute yourselves. I can't see you. I've only got one screen on the go at the moment. Okay, so I'll come back to a Q&A in a second. So just summarizing things up, high reps, low load. We don't have any equipment at the moment, or if you do have equipment, you're very lucky, but the majority of us are not going to have equipment. And what we're trying to do is we're going to be going to failure with certain exercises using just our body weight so that we can make sure our muscles are activated enough and they're getting the correct attention that they need so that when you come back to fencing, they're ready to go. Okay, we're improving muscle capacity, so the capacity to exercise, the ability for that muscle to do work or do more work, and then this in turn will reduce our injury risk because we are better able to cope with load. Okay, the whole point of this at the moment, especially with the current situation, is we are trying to prevent muscle loss due to not training. But for any coaches who are listening in, or anyone who's interested in S&C, this also features quite well in a general preparation phase. So at the start of pre-season training as well, just to get athletes ready so they're able to cope with a little bit more load during their main weight sessions. Again, does anyone have any questions? Yeah, go for it. I have my volume down then, so go for it. Okay, so any questions at all? Okay, if not, what I'm going to do is I'll move on. I'll turn the slideshow off in a minute. I'll come back and we can do some face-to-face stuff. This is a study that I'm doing at the moment. Thank you to the guys who have completed it. It's a little study, only 15 minutes long. It's just a questionnaire on caffeine and fencing. I had a conversation, a meeting today with UK anti-doping. They're really keen on this in terms of they really think that this is going to give them some decent information about fencers. What you guys can gain out of it as well is you have the option to put your email address in at the end. Everything's anonymous. I don't know who's answered it, but you get a chance to get hold of the final report at the end, and that will give you a little bit of information when it comes to fencing in terms of the potential uses of caffeine as a supplement for performance, or the negatives and the side effects. So if people want to do that for me, that would be really helpful. If you just take a photo of that whilst it's on the screen now, I'll give you a chance to do that. And then if you want to fill that in your own time, again, completely optional, you don't need to do it, but it is really helpful to me, and it can be really helpful to you when it comes to the final report. I'll just give you a chance to take a photo now if you want to. Okay, and that's my email address. You were very good last week in terms of getting your heart rates over to me. I've had to look through those. I've put them all into a spreadsheet. And what we'll do is we'll just measure certain things that I'm looking for over the next few weeks, and you'll get some physiological data feedback for the group nearing the end of this sort of section of S&C sort of presentations. And then that's the end of the presentation. I'll come back and I'll stop screen sharing if it lets me. So what can people see at the moment? Are they able to see me, or? Hopefully that works. Does anyone have any questions at all on anything I've just covered in terms of muscular conditioning, muscular capacity, anything?
George, not to do with this session as per se, but I know you touched on lactic acid at the start. I don't know if that's, I haven't looked at the program. I don't know if that's included in the later weeks. Is that something that is or could be? So
when it comes into that is like quite hardcore biochemistry and physiology. I can give you a little like 2-minute thing now. What happens is everyone thinks that lactic acid, which is the byproduct of performing exercise without enough oxygen, everyone thinks that's the thing that causes the burning feeling in their legs. They think it's a negative thing. They think they need to reduce their lactic acid. Actually, lactic acid it's like an intermediate energy source that basically gets used to, I think it's to oxidize something called NAD and FAD2. NAD and FAD2 are very important electron carriers when it comes to oxidative phosphorylation, which that's to do with like aerobic capacity. So we're exercising fine, we've got enough oxygen. And what it does is because it oxidizes those, it allows that process of anaerobic respiration to keep going, because those two are also important for that process of making lactic acid, and basically the process of forming lactic acid from glucose. Okay, that's me just giving a 2-minute thing. I could talk for hours on that, so hopefully that helps. But that was a very quick thing. Basically, all you need to know is it's like an intermediate energy source. It actually helps you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions? Again, feel free to unmute and just speak up. I don't think many of you have done anything to do with muscular capacity before, or like if you have, is that why you don't have any questions on it?
I was actually wanting to ask, when you mentioned doing the reps till the failure, how do you know when you've reached the point of failure? And
you'll know when you've reached the point of failure. You won't be able to do any more. I'm going to go through a few of those exercises in a minute. It's things like single leg calf raises. People reach failure from anywhere between 10 reps to like 50 reps, and like most people will be closer to those sort of getting towards 20 reps. You'll know about it. It's when your form breaks down and it physically feels quite painful. It's an uncomfortable feeling. I'm going to go through it in a minute. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, if not, I'm going to demonstrate some of my favorite muscular capacity exercises. So first of all, if everyone wants to get into a little space as well, they can join in at the same time. So the first one that I would choose to do, much to Ben's dislike, is a single leg calf raise. Obviously, if you don't want to do the single leg, you can do a double leg variation of this. Hopefully everyone can see my feet in the diagram. What you want to do is you want to have something like a step. I don't have the step here at the moment, so we'll just go off the floor. And what you'll do is you'll have something to rest on, but when I say rest on, I mean just fingertips, okay? We're not putting any body weight through our hands whatsoever. And from here, what we'll be doing is on one foot, it's just a calf raise. So coming right up to the top and lowering down. And what I'd expect you to do with this is as many reps as possible, okay? We're not going to do that now because obviously we're time bound and we've got another session coming up in a second, but it's about getting as many repetitions up as possible. It's about using the full range of motion, okay? And what that's doing, the calves are a very, very key muscle when it comes to fencing. The next thing that I normally get guys to do is the hamstrings. So I've spoken about before, the hamstrings are a key injury area. And what we can do with that is we can come onto the floor. You've probably all done a hamstring bridge with me before, but we're really going to work on this angle at the knee, okay? We want that angle to be quite far. Sometimes, if you want to make it harder, you can have a box that you can rest your leg on up here. And what we're going to do, hands on shoulders from there, is just a case of getting as many full range reps as many full range of motion reps in as possible, okay, of hamstring bridges. And this is a very, very tough exercise. You can get to failure quite quick on that. Again, with this exercise, it's key to have your heel quite far away from your bum. Another exercise that you can do is, if you have a household chair, we can have that on the floor. And what we do is, if I set this up correctly, hands on hips, hands on shoulders. And from here, we'd be doing single leg sit to stands, okay? So when we're coming down to the box, our bum is only just touching it. That is another really good muscular conditioning exercise that we can do at home. It's very similar to a single leg squat. If that single leg exercise or variation is too hard, again, double leg, coming down, sit to stand, okay? There's upper body exercises that we can do as well. Really quick, simple one is just push-ups. I'm not going to demonstrate that, we know them. To make it more relevant to fencing, bring your arms in a bit. So if you bring your arms in a bit, you can get a little bit more tricep activation. It's that key muscle that's basically used to pushing our arm forwards. Okay, does anyone have any questions on any of those exercises? If not, we'll get warmed up and we'll get ready to crack on with the session today. No? Okay, perfect. It's time to warm up. What we're going to start off with, so if you get yourselves into a nice space, is tiptoe walks. We're just going to stand on the spot, trying to get our toes as high in the air as possible, and we're not going to let our heels touch the floor. So off you go, guys. Let's get some tiptoe walks in. Heels don't touch the floor. Toes coming up. You can either go hands on hips, or if you've got the space, stretch out as tall as you can. I don't have the space, so I've got to go hands on hips. Just on the spot. If you do actually have the room, just move forwards and move backwards as well. So what we're trying to do is wake up the calves. So this is actually a good warm-up that you can do before a muscular conditioning set that is going to include your calves, okay? Again, with all the muscular conditioning stuff, it's about going right to failure, okay? And you'll feel that quite quick. And if you don't, just keep going. And it's about getting that full range of motion and getting proper form in. Okay, now we're going to break into a jog. So, getting into the nitty-gritty of our warm-up today. So starting off with an intensity of about 5 out of 10. The changes that I've made today to make this session a progressive overload from last week. The first thing you'll notice is that we're going to be working for a longer period of time. We're going to be resting for a shorter amount of time as well. And then the exercises have changed as well, just to add a little bit more variation in. Okay, now we're going to take this up to a 7 out of 10. We're going to get warmed up nice and quick now. Just moving through the motions, moving through the gears, getting ourselves to near enough in maximum intensity that we're going to use during the session. So a 7 out of 10 on the jog. And now from here, we're going to do a certain few exercises. The first exercise that we're going to do is going to be heel flips. So try and kick our bum. Okay, if we start those now, just throw some heel flips in. You can either have your hands behind where your bum is, or you can have them just in front, as if you were jogging. Nice. Now what we're going to do is going to move into some high knees. This is not a high knee sprint like we do during the session. This is just some, I wouldn't say gentle, but it really isn't gentle. This is just some high knees, just to get your heart rate a little bit higher. Okay, definitely not moving to our maximum. Really good, the guys that I can see this looks good. Next exercise we're going to move to is something called a Gilbert. So what we're doing is we're just kicking our legs out in front of us. Okay, we're trying to keep this at that 7 out of 10 intensity. Different movement, different range of motion. It's going to tax different muscles. Again, just trying to get our heart rate nice and high, so the legs staying straight whilst we're doing it. Nice. Then we're going to go back to those butt kicks or heel flicks. Okay, last time we're going to go through. Let's take it up to an 8 out of 10. So a little bit faster. And then onto the high knees. So you're a little bit more familiar with the format after last week. So today we're just going to get stuck in, get straight into it. And next on to Gilbert's. Nice. And stop there. We're going to move on to the activate portion. So same as last week, single leg glute bridge or a glute bridge. So quick demonstration. If we're doing a glute bridge, we want our feet nice and close to our bum. And from here, with our hands on our shoulders or the hands on the floor, we're just going to push our hips up as high as possible. Okay, I want everyone to give me 10 reps of this. 1, 2, 3. If you want a harder option, let's go single leg and we'll do 5 on each side, okay? Single leg variation, it's exactly the same. We're just moving up with one leg. Tell you what, we'll do 5 more. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. Right, back onto our feet. The next exercise we've got is something called a lunge pulse. So we're going to get into a lunge position, or get our legs into a lunge position. So we're standing up again for the guys still on the floor. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to just drop down to that lunge, okay? We're going to do this 10 times on each side. So looking to get that 90-degree angle at both knees. If this is a little bit too hard, you can use the wall, you can use something stable around you, where you can have your arms out as a counterbalance. We'll do 3 more on this side. 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to switch sides. So exactly the same again, get yourself nice and set up, and from here, lunge pulses, we're going to go down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, we're going to hold it down there for a little bit. Just hold it down there, and 10. Perfect. Really good. Moving on to our mobilized section. It's going to be down dogs to seal stretch. So we're going to start off in a down dog position. Let's try and get our heels to touch the floor. Okay, we're going to try and push the floor away. From here, we're going to transition into the seal stretch. So just coming forward. So if everyone wants to get into those two positions now, first position, down dog, and then into the seal stretch, okay? Keeping that chest up, chin up. We're going to do this 5 times. 1. So getting that chest up on the seal stretch. Number 2, getting those heels into the floor on the down dog. This is the mobilized portion of the warm-up. Number 3, we've got 2 more. Number 4, so get those heels into the floor and then transition forwards, chest staying up, chin staying up. And then last one, down dog. And then into the seal stretch to finish off. Okay, chest up, chin up. Perfect, and then back onto our feet. Final thing we're going to do for the potentiate, because of this is an exercise session, it's not a fencing session, we're more focused on getting our heart rate up to near maximum that we're going to use during the session, less focused about trying to produce lots of force, lots of power. Okay, so we're going to do sprint bursts today. So what I want everyone to do is to start off jogging. When I say go, I want everyone to do fast feet. When I say change from fast feet, everyone needs to go into high knee sprint as fast as they can. Okay, and then we'll go back to the jogging. I'll shout them out, okay? So in 3, 2, 1, fast feet, go, 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 go. Nice and fast, get those feet moving as quick as possible. And change into high knees, nice and quick. And then back to jogging. Okay, we're going to do that a few times. Back to jogging, lower hearts recover. In 3, 2, 1, fast feet, go, go, go. And change into high knees. Really good, back to jogging, we're going to do one more. Okay, jogging nice and leisurely. 3, 2, 1, fast feet. Moving nice and quick. We're going to stay here for a little bit of time and change into high knee sprints just to finish off. And stop there. Great effort, everyone. We're going to move on to the circuit now. Joe, are you able to give me a thumbs up whether you can still hear me with the fan on? Can you still hear me? Perfect. So I'll just get my interval timer sorted. Again, as I said, 35 seconds of work, 25 seconds of rest, okay? So a little bit longer working, a little bit shorter resting than last week. If my interval timer, there we go. So first exercise, we've got 2 options. The first option is just squats, okay? Feet hip width apart, heels touching the floor, toes pointing slightly outwards, coming to 90 degrees. The second option and the harder option, squat jumps, okay? So going into a squat, we're going to transition upwards, little jump, okay? Watch your heads on the ceiling. Obviously, if you're in a flat or anything, let's just stick to the squats and maybe come up on your toes if you want to do something explosive. Okay, we're going to start in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, off we go. First option, just all normal squats. Okay, if you want to make it a little bit harder, squat jumps. I want everyone to land nice and softly. Okay, so landing nice and soft with the knees so we can transition into the next rep. Just cranking out the squats or squat jumps. Okay, if one exercise is a little bit too hard, when we get halfway through, let's transition to the other option. We've got 1 second and stop there. 25 seconds of rest. Next exercise is a high knee sprint. Okay, we've just done them. I want everyone to go to that maximum intensity, 8 to 10 out of 10 on the RPE scale, getting our knees nice and high, making sure our arms are moving. We're going to go in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, off we go, high knee sprints. make sure those knees get nice and high. If this exercise is too difficult, we can do marches. Okay, but I want you to do the marches nice and quick. Let's get those knees nice and high. Perfect. Knees nice and high. Let's go through it. We're not just going through the motions, we're really attacking each exercise. Okay, we've got 5 seconds. And stop there. Awesome effort, everyone. Next exercise is a step through lunge, okay? This is slightly tricky. You're going to start off in a reverse lunge position. Then you can transition, so left leg being in front. And you're going to transition back. Don't worry, we're going to do this on both sides, okay? The other one's coming up. This side, the only thing that's moving is our left leg, okay? Off we go. Step through lunges. If this exercise is too hard, what we can do is we can have a little thing that we can rest on. And from here, you're just going to do lunges, but you're just going to do them on one side. Okay? Guys, on the step through lunges, it's only your left leg moving. Okay? Right leg stays planted, moving between the 2 positions. Obviously, space dependent. If you don't have enough space, again, just that single leg lunge and stop there. Really good, everyone. Next exercise, jumping jacks, okay? It's just star jumps. We're going to do these nice and fast. 8 to 10 out of 10 on the RPE scale, okay? We're going to go in 7 seconds. 2, 1, off we go, jumping jacks. Okay, nice and fast, try and keep up with me. I don't know how much the laptop's buffering. Nice and quick, okay? Aiming for an 8 to 10 out of 10 on the RPE scale. Everyone working to their own abilities, okay? Someone else's 10 might be very different to my 10, and my 10 might be very different to someone else who's a lot fitter than me, okay? Arms and legs coming out. Doing really well, the guys that I can see. And stop there, awesome effort. Next exercise is those step through lunges, but on the opposite side. So, right leg's moving this time. We're just going to step through on each side. If that's too tricky, or we don't have enough space, it's just reverse lunges on one side, or reverse lunges with a little bit of resistance that we can hold on to. Okay, 2, 1, off we go. Let's see how everyone's doing. Step throughs, really good, Kat. Nice, really good, Joe. Awesome. Perfect, Rosie. Yeah, really good, Jacob. Nice, Ben. Perfect, Louise. Nice, Lachlan. Nice and controlled. Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. Almost there. Really good, everyone. Last second and stop there. Next exercise, we're onto the floor. It's mountain climbers. There's 2 options for mountain climbers. The first one, we can do it nice and slow, nice and controlled. Look at my bum, it's staying down and in line, okay? The second option is to go for it, okay? So we're going to go nice and fast. So cracking these out, getting our knees as close to our chest as possible. Okay, off we go. First option that we've got, taking it nice and easy. Nice and slow, okay? Working to your own intensity. If that is too easy, nice and fast. Gonna go for it nice and quick, keeping that bum low into the floor. Okay, nice straight line between our shoulders and our ankles. Really good. Okay, last 8 seconds. Let's speed it up, we're almost there. Awesome, keep going, go, 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 and stop there. Really good. Next exercise, again, we're going to stay on the floor. A few of you guys have done this one with me in the past. It's called a dive bomber. First option, we go on our knees, and from here, we're going to transition into a semi-seal stretch, and from there, come back, okay? If that's too easy, we're going to move like so, okay? And off we go. So I'll keep demonstrating. This is the hardest variation we shall be working out now. Transitioning between the two. If that's too tricky, we'll come on our knees and we do much the same. Okay, as this is a very tricky exercise, let's just see how you're getting on. We've got 10 seconds left. Really good, the guys I can see. Perfect effort, Joe. Nice. That's good. Really good, Dana. And stop there. Awesome effort, everyone. Next exercise. We're going to be standing up. If we're right-handed, our left foot is going to come in front. From here, as fast as we can, we're going to do some air punches, okay? As fast as we can. If you know a little bit more about boxing or MMA, you can throw some other jabs in there, some hooks, and some uppercuts as well. Okay, off we go. 35 seconds, as fast as we can. Okay, nice and light on the feet. Just trying to get our arms moving as fast as we can. Trying to get our heart rate up. Okay, just keep going. Go, 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 go. 20 seconds. All we're trying to do is create as much movement as possible. Trying to get our heart rate as high as possible. We've got 10 seconds left. Just keep going, dig deep. A few more punches. 5 seconds. Go, 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 almost there. Keep pushing. And stop there, really good. Next exercise. Last week we did a bear crawl, but it was side to side. Today we're going to do it front to back. Okay, in the bear crawl position, nice and low on the floor. From here, we're going to take 2 steps forwards and 2 steps back, okay? I'm staying nice and low to the floor. Okay, that bum stays down. All right, and off we go. Straight into it. 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back. Bum stays near the floor. Or as low down as we can, okay? If you want to make it easier, then yeah, your bum can come up a little bit more. But perfect form. Imagine there's a coffee going on your back. Okay, you're a coffee table and you don't want to move. 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back. Make sure no one spills that coffee. We've got 5 seconds left. Really good, Joe. I trust you with my coffee. That looks really good. Next exercise. We're finishing off the round with some good old burpees. Options are hands on the floor. We can step out and we can step back in and we can come up and stand up. Other option, we're kicking out, we're coming back in and we're popping up. Third option, chest to floor and up. Off we go. And I'll do the final option whilst you guys are going. Final option is a chest to floor with a tuck jump as well. Okay, you guys choose which one you want to do. Perfect, really good. So I'm going to crack on with some tuck jump burpees. Chest to floor, coming up into a tuck jump. Okay. 5 seconds. And stop there. Great effort, everyone. Really good. And grab a drink, we're going to have a quick rest. Won't be for long. How's everyone feeling? Thumbs up if it's harder than last week. Thumbs up. Yeah. Thumbs down if it's not. Perfect. I had 2 thumbs up from someone there. Ben gave me 2 thumbs up as well. Lucy's chilling out on the sofa. Really good, everyone. Really impressed. Nice. Has anyone, whilst we've got a little pause, anyone got any questions on anything we've gone over? Obviously, if you can talk, I'm not going to hold it against you if you're still out of breath. Okay, we've got 1 minute and then we're going to go again, okay, for round number 2. It's going to be the last round. And then after that, we've got some time for some Q&As at the end. If anyone does have any questions, just fire away.
George, do you want us to be taking our heart rate now?
No, we'll do that right at the end. We're only going to do it once per session, okay? So it's
Okay, cool.
right at the end, and then the recovery heart rate as well. Good question, though. I didn't make that clear at the start. So another few seconds of rest. Okay, so I want everyone to get back or start getting back. Ready to go. Don't take too much water on board. We've got 10 seconds. Just get the interval timer ready. And it's going to be the same again, okay? We're going to start in 5 seconds. First exercise that we're doing is either squats or squat jumps. Okay, off we go, straight into it. The options are squats. So look, I'm going down to 90 degrees or 90-degree angle. If you can't go to 90 degrees, obviously, just cut it off a little bit. And if that's too easy, do some squat jumps, okay? Obviously, be careful of the ceiling. We've got 10 seconds left. We're going to stick with squats. Everyone's looking really good so far. Just keep going, keep digging deep, and stop there. Next exercise, it's those high knee sprints again, okay? Just getting our knees up, getting our arms moving. Really good opportunity to get ourselves into those sort of higher heart rates. Okay, well after that, 8 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 on the RPE scale. I know I keep harping on about it, but that's what we're after. Okay, 2 seconds, and off we go. High knee sprints, getting those knees nice and high, making sure our arms are moving as well. Nice, everyone's doing really well. Let's keep going. Let's see how you guys are getting on. Perfect, keep going, keep going. Looking really good so far. Nice. Perfect. Okay, keep digging deep. We're almost there. Got 5 seconds. 4, 2, 1, and stop there. Next exercise is going to be the step through lunges on our left side, okay? So stepping through on each side. Okay, make sure you've got enough space. If you don't have enough space to do that, again, it's just going to be normal reverse lunges, but just on one side. We're going to start in 5 seconds. So step through lunges on our left side. Off we go. 35 seconds of work, and we get a nice little rest afterwards. Final set. So let's dig deep. Let's get the work done. Have some fun in the process, okay? Step through lunges, just on the left-hand side. Everyone's looking really good so far. Make sure we get into those 90-degree angles. We've got 5 seconds left. We can do hands on hips, hands down by sides, or a little counterbalance. And stop there. Next exercise, jumping jacks. I know people are getting tired. We've got options for jumping jacks. If you want to make them easier, we could just do them a little bit slower, okay? But if you want another option, we can step out to each side with 1 foot as our arms go up, okay? So that's jumping jacks. Off we go. Slow jumping jacks, or just stepping out to each side, completely up to you. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but this circuit is definitely hard today. Okay, jumping jacks, get them done. Jumping out. Going for that 8 to 10 to 10 out of 10 on our RPE scale. Look at those sort of max heart rates. As I've alluded to before, those max heart rates, that's what we want to aim for because it's very similar to a fencing competition. And stop there. Next exercise is the step throughs, but on the other leg, okay, so right leg this time. Stepping through, stepping back with a lunge. Obviously make sure you got some space. I didn't just there, so I was doing forward and back. Okay, got enough space just to go in, continuous. Stepping through on each side, okay? We're going to start in 2 seconds, and off we go. Okay, so the theory behind it is, if we can keep working at a high heart rate, When we get to competition, we'll find it easier. Okay, our working heart rate won't be so high for the same given intensity. If you need a counterbalance, arms can go out to either side, okay? This is going to get quite heavy on the legs. If you're fine, hands on hips, hands on shoulders. If you want to, you can go hands behind the head. Okay, and stop there. Really good. Next exercise, it's going to be those mountain climbers. Okay, so on the floor, 2 options, moving nice and slowly, individually, one at a time, or we're going to go for it. Okay, trying to get those knees as close to our chest as possible, okay? We're going to go 5 seconds. I'll have a look how everyone's getting on. Off we go. Some mountain climbers. So really ramp the intensity up now, okay? Final set, last few exercises. Let's get it done. Keep those bums low. Get that bum a little bit lower, Ben. Perfect. Great effort, Jacob. Really good, Rosie. Nice. Awesome, let's keep going. I like it. Okay, let's pick that intensity up. We're almost there. Really good, Robbie. Don't know how you're wearing a jumper, but there you go. And stop there. Awesome effort. Next exercise that we're going to be moving to is the dive bombers. Okay, so we're on the floor again. Options on our knees, transitioning between the 2 positions. Nice big range of motion, or coming onto our feet and doing the same again, okay? We're really trying to work on the shoulders with this exercise. Off we go, straight into it. 35 seconds of work, 25 seconds of rest. It's really good from the guys that I can see. Nice. Okay, Arnav, what we're going to try and do is going to make this as smooth as possible. So from this position, we're not just transitioning to here. From here, we're coming, sweeping through, okay? And back. Nice, much better. Really good, working on our shoulders, okay? And stop there. Next exercise is back to those punches, okay? Let's get a little bit more creative this time. Let's throw some movement in. Throw a few of the legs in as well. We can move forward, backwards. Okay, put a few combinations in there. Whatever you want to do, okay? We're going to start in 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off we go. So throwing some movement in. Little combinations, whatever you want to do, okay? If you want to, you can stay there and you can blast them out, followed by a little rest back into it. It's completely up to you, okay? Just work as hard as you can on this one. Keep going, guys. Really good, Jacob. That's what I like to see. Throw some combinations in there as well. I don't care how it looks. It can look messy if it wants to, I don't mind. Just moving around, throwing some combinations in. Okay, and stop there, really good. Next exercise is the bear crawl, front and back. Okay, from this position, nice and low, really be nice and low on this one. It's the last time we're doing it, second to last exercise. Transitioning, 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back, okay? Bum stays nice and low on the floor. All right, we're gonna go in 3 seconds. 2, 1, off we go. Okay, nice and low to the floor. 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back. Okay, we can do this all night long. Okay, I'm trusting you guys with my coffee, and as you know, I'm a big coffee fan. I've done an entire study on caffeine, so I don't want you spilling any of it. Okay, really good. Keep those backs nice and flat. Really good, Robbie. I like that. Nice. Great effort, Dana. Keep it up. Keep going. We're almost there. Keep digging through. And stop there. Last exercise is burpees. I want everyone to do one variation up of what they did last time, okay? So stepping out, stepping back in, coming up. Kick out, kick back in and up. Chest to floor and up. Or chest to floor with a tuck jump, okay? Your choice. We've got to go in 2, 1. Off we go. Maximum effort. Last exercise of the night. I want to see everyone going for it. one exercise up than what they did last time. Dig deep. We've got 15 seconds left. Okay, that's enough to get a few more reps in. 9. Last 5 seconds. And stop there. Well done, everyone. Okay, let's do your heart rates, either on your neck or on your wrist. How many times does it beat in 10 seconds? Times that by 6. Write it down and email that to me. Okay, I've started the timer for 2 minutes recovery. As we didn't have too many questions on the muscular capacity stuff, I'm opening it up to any sort of general sports science or strength and conditioning questions that you may have. Any feedback that you guys want to give me, anything you want to work on in the future, anything you don't like and we can change. Okay, just unmute yourselves and then go for it. So this is for you guys. Yeah.
What's your email again?
My email is georgebmorris.ac@gmail.com.
Okay, thanks.
So that's georgebmorris.ac@gmail.com. Okay, does anyone have any feedback? Anything they like, anything they want to get rid of, apart from burpees? Any questions on anything whatsoever? Okay, we've got 30 more seconds before we take our heart rates again.
Can I ask, how would you improve your limit of failure? Would you just do these exercises again and again, or would you have to add a load, or what's the best way to?
It's a case of going to failure maybe a couple of times. I wouldn't do it more than twice a week, especially with like not really any equipment at the moment, no weights. It's definitely a really good option. Maybe twice a week, do those key exercises I said, go to failure, and then go and do it again the next week and see if you've improved, okay? Over time, you will build up some sort of resistance to it. Okay, I want everyone to take their heart rates one more time, okay? So that's 10 seconds. How many times does your heart beat in 10 seconds? Times that by 6 and send it over to me. On the session I did on Wednesday, I had a lot of questions about heart rate monitors. I'll answer some of the questions that they asked me. I don't know whether that's relevant to anyone here, but they asked me whether I use one. Yes, I do. I use a chest strap. I'm obviously not wearing it at the moment, but I ordered that from a place called Wahoo. They're quite affordable. I think the one I've got at the moment is 60 quid. The one before I had that was 30. Both from the same place. They both work really well. So if anyone's really interested in getting some actual real sort of physiological data when it comes to their heart rate whilst they're doing the session, I definitely recommend purchasing a chest strap heart rate monitor. You can connect it to your phone. Okay. Does anyone have any additional questions? Any feedback? If not, we're getting close to 7. Perfect. I've already had my first heart rate through for the night. That's from Lachlan, so he gets the prize tonight. Moving on to the last minute, okay? So if anyone does have any questions, speak up now. If not, you're free to go. If anyone wants to stay behind afterwards and have a chat with me, then I'm free to do that.
Cheers, thanks, George.
No worries, guys. See ya. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Really good
Cheers,
effort,
George.
everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, George.
No worries, guys. See ya. Okay, Danny, are you wanting to chat to me or have you just not signed out yet? Danny Hartland, are you still there?